Morning, it's 10 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order. Our opening prayer this morning will be by Reverend Rick Kerr for the Missionary Baptist Church in St. Joe, and that will be followed by our pledges led by Commissioner Clement. If you would, please rise.
Shall we pray? Our Father, we're so thankful today for the opportunity that we have to serve you, first of all, and then also that those of us who work here and who are elected officials to serve the county. We pray, Father, that you would help us as we go forward. We're working our way toward the end of this year and toward a new year, that we would seek you and your wisdom in all things that we do. We pray, Father, for our first responders all around the world, really. We know the sacrifice that they make and the hard work. We pray for our military. Would you bless them and help them wherever they are? And I pray, Father, that all of us will be found doing those things that are pleasing with you. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, we have anybody signed up for public comments this morning?
But I would like to make a quick announcement, if that's all right.
Okay, sure.
I was supposed to get on there on the agenda, but I missed it. But so I'm just proud to announce that the property fraud alert that y'all approved is up and running on my website. So I just wanted to thank Commissioners Court for approving them funds to get this up and running. And I just kind of want to let the public, inform the public what this is. It's basically a free online subscription that you can sign up for. That will send you a notice or an alert if anything's filed in the county clerk's office in your name. So it could be something you file, and you should get that alert. But if somebody does file something fraudulently, and there's not a lot of fraud in Cooke County, fraud documents, but of course the FBI says that it is a growing crime that is fast growing supposedly in bigger counties. So I had a lot of the public asked for this, so I was proud that we did get it approved and got it up and running. It's easy to sign up. You can just go to the county clerk website and basically put in your name. Ed just did it. It was real easy, right? Yes. And so once you sign up, you should get them alerts. Of course, it doesn't prevent documents from being filed in your name, but you'll get that alert where you can. It's an early warning system, basically, where you can take action faster. So if you have any questions, call my office. And do y'all have any questions about it? Or?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Sounds like a very good system.
Oh, and we already have 153 signed up.
You had a few signed up?
Yeah, we went ahead and I had a client thought to get it out there on Facebook, so they put it on that Cooke County chat or something, and a lot of people shared it, and just like that, in just a few days, I had 153 people already sign up.
I'll share it out on mine too.
Matt,
Yeah,
too.
yeah, if you can share
Sounds
it.
good.
Ricky shared it, so my husband knows a lot of people in Cooke County. I could even see the names on there.
Come on now.
But yeah, if anybody wants to share it, that'll even get more response. for
Okay,
us. So
hopefully
thank
our
y'all.
news media will cover it as well.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Anyone else signed up? Okay. Item 6 on the agenda is the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes non-controversial and routine items that the court may act on with one single vote. The judge or a commissioner may pull any item from the consent agenda in order that the court discuss and act upon it individually as a part of the regular agenda.
Anybody have anything they want to pull? If not, I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Commissioner Clement.
Second.
A second by Commissioner Snuggs. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 7 deliberate and consider possible approval of Treasurer's Monthly Report, November 2021.
Move to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Commissioner Snuggs,
Second.
second by Commissioner Clement. All in favor of approving the Treasurer's Monthly Report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. It is 10:05. We'll open public hearing, rezone of 2.5 acres at 101 Mount Pleasant Road, Valley View, from agricultural to residential, as requested by Donald and Bonnie Lewis and Ricky Melvin. Anybody have anything to add? No comments?
And this has already been through P&Z and all that.
Okay, if we have no comments, item 9, we'll close public hearing at 10:05 and a half.
That's a record.
Item 10, deliberate and consider possible approval of rezoning of 2.5 acres at 101 Mount Pleasant Road, Valley View, from agricultural to residential, as requested by Donald and Bonnie Lewis and Rick Melvin.
Make a motion, we approve the rezone.
Have a motion to approve the rezone by Commissioner Snuggs.
Second.
A second by Commissioner Art. All in favor of approving the rezone, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Okay. Item number 11, open public hearing, rezone of 20 acres at 200 block of Blackjack Road at Bloomfield Road in Valley View from agricultural to residential, as requested by Clint Whipple. We're doing a lot of,
It's all the precinct 2 show today.
yeah, it is.
Hey, Judge.
Yes, sir. Oh, okay, thank you. So we do have people here to speak on this one. John Howe.
Good morning, and thank you for this opportunity to speak with you. My name is John Nowell. My partner Susan Heckman and I own the property at 568 Bloomfield Road. My apologies. And I am here to speak in opposition, at least at this time, to the approval of this request. And I have two broad reasons to do this. Over the weekend, I got to looking at the document that created the Lake Ray Roberts Planning and Zoning Commission. And what struck me is that throughout the discussion, there was a strong desire on the part of the then residents of this area, that area, to maintain the rural character of the area around the lake. I am kind of having a hard time, and this fits in with the next agenda item regarding the approval of the rezoning. I'm kind of having a hard time understanding why the proposed 2.5 acre lots right in the middle of what is largely a rural area fits in with that vision. If you look, all you have to do is pull up the CAD map of that area, and you'll see that with one or two exceptions, all of the lots are 5 acres or above. And on those lots that are directly east of Bloomfield Road, while those lots are in the 5 acre range, the houses are set back from the road quite a ways, and that maintains the rural character, helps maintain the rural character of the area. The other thing that struck me was, excuse me just a minute, I'll refer to my notes here. Does the proposed, yeah, we talked about that, my apologies. And then there was also a comment, the rezoning valuation criteria as to the design standards for the proposed development meet the minimum standards established. I don't think we know that yet. I attended the planning and zoning meeting about a month ago, and there was certainly discussion about the plat and the fact that the gentleman wants to create 8 2.5 acre lots. But I didn't see any discussion, nor do I recall any discussion of what is proposed to be put on those lots, the character of them. Are there going to be any covenants and restrictions placed on the development of those lots? I think these are all things that the surrounding homeowners have a right to know before this is approved. So that's one area of concern. The other area of concern is a little bit more general, but again, referring to the planning and zoning meeting. There was some discussion about proper drainage and utilities, and I know that the gentleman has received certificates from the utility companies saying that they are able and willing to provide those services to the area. But a major concern that a lot of us have there is the quality of the roads. Now, Commissioner Snuggs, you and I haven't had a chance to meet yet, but we have exchanged emails, and I know you're doing the best you can with limited resources. But if you put additional people on this property, you're going to put additional stress on roads that are already deteriorating and are going to deteriorate further. And I think the landowners around there that exist right now we need some more thorough discussion of what's going to be done around the road or to the roads, both Blackjack and Bloomfield. And oh, by the way, the little connector road, County Road 2132, down just north of the lake, because those are the two main areas of ingress and egress from this property. The other thing that got no consideration, and I really think it ought to, at least in some cursory way, is that when you add density to an area like this, you increase the propensity of crime, or crime. Now, I will grant you that I don't sit in my lawn chair out on Bloomfield Road for 12 hours a day and see how many times the county sheriff's deputies come by. I did have the pleasure of meeting one about 6 weeks ago. But I can tell you, we have lived in this place 5 years, and I can count on the fingers of one hand, and have fingers left over, the number of times I've seen the county deputies out in that area. In fact, we were told when we moved out here that if you have an emergency, such as a crime, don't call the sheriff and expect they're going to be there in 5 minutes. They're not. And I understand that. Understand the logistics, at least, of the issue. But I really do think there needs to be some general discussion about if we add this kind of density, what's that going to potentially do to the crime rate, and how is the county in general planning to address that? So sort of in conclusion, I guess the way I feel about this is I would be a lot less resistant to this proposal if the gentleman would consider not carving the land he wants to sell up into 2.5 acre lots, but carving it up into 5 or 10 acre lots, because I think that would be more in character with the surrounding area and would help us maintain that rural feel, which is why we moved to the country anyway. And I would simply say that just because the regulation calls for a minimum of 2.5 acre lots, that doesn't mean they must be 2.5 acres or should be 2.5 acres. So I would like to request that you gentlemen either table this for a little while longer, or if that's not within your procedures, deny this request, but with a remand back to the Planning and Zoning Commission to further discuss the issues that I've raised. Thank you.
The next speaker is Bill Coleman. Bill?
Good morning, Commissioners, Judge Starnes, and the public. Thank you very much. I am Bill Coleman. I am a registered professional surveyor here in the state of Texas, and I am dealing with the plating issues for Clint Whipple. Several of the issues that were brought up by Mr. Howell have been addressed in the process. The design standards, of course, will exceed minimum standards for the county. There is a draft copy of restrictions and regulations being circulated among the design team, and we are looking into that. Same thing with the drainage study along Blackjack for the area, a drainage study for the area. The way this generally works is first we must be given permission to proceed by converting the land from agricultural to residential. Second is a preliminary plat, which is also on the agenda today, which shows the general layout and the proposal for the area. The final plat includes a drainage study, conversations with the county engineers, and things like that to address all of these items that were brought up. As far as density and crime, it's only 8 lots. It is not a, quote, development that is going to proceed rather quickly. The idea behind this is to set aside a certain area of the ranch that can be used for residential in the future if needed. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them. And that's the end of my presentation at this time.
Yes, before you leave, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
I don't have a copy of the original plat. What restrictions are on it? Do you know off the top of your head? Do you have a copy with you?
We have not listed the restrictions and covenants that are also filed along with the dedication when the plat is filed.
Okay.
Those are still in draft stage. The items on the preliminary plat are consistent with the standards for Cooke County. We've addressed all of the issues that are requested in the preliminary plat application with our preliminary plat. I have a copy of it if you would like to review it.
Kathy, you said something was missing when we spoke briefly last week, prior to Christmas.
Back from Ben Bob saying, yes, definitely.
No,
There's issues with runoff.
okay.
They want a detailed drainage study done.
Did you send me that? Or
Probably not such
can I
as
see
we
it?
did this morning here.
For
I will say-
clarification, everyone here today, is as part of our procedures in zoning and planning is the engineer has to review our engineer reviews the runoff for the property as it's associated with the plat and the way it's laid out. So I'm assuming that we're not compliant at this point according to that engineer.
Yeah, we're not to that actually, because that goes with the preliminary plat, not the zoning change.
Yeah, because this is the zoning.
This is a zoning change, and all the other stuff follows afterwards. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Yes, yes,
Okay, so
Okay.
he's correct when he said we haven't got to that point yet.
yes.
Okay.
I will say that we have retained a engineer that is reviewing the site and will provide us with information after he has gone through the Cooke County regulations and dealt with your engineer. They'll talk back and forth and decide what needs to be proceed forward. As I said, that's part of the final plat process. First, we need first steps.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Anyone else? Anyone that had not signed up would like to speak?
Is there, I'm not familiar with the procedures, is there an opportunity to comment?
Sure, we'll allow you to comment.
You know, at the end of the day, all that I said, I'm concerned about, but really at the end of the day, what I'm really concerned about is if the county allows the gentleman to go forward with this plan to produce these 8 lots, and I'll take it on faith for the moment until I read it in writing that's legally binding, that what the engineer here just said is true. But my most overriding concern is that if these 8 lots are developed successfully, Mr. Whipple may well decide that the other 40 acres needs to be developed in a similar fashion. And all of the horsey stuff is gone. And now we don't have just 8 lots. We probably have 20 to 30 lots out there. And there will have been created, albeit a ritzy one, a fancy one, what amounts to a D.R. Horton subdivision in the middle of this land that has this rural character. And that's my overriding concern. And I thank you for accepting.
Thank you. We're in public hearing. I can. Happens. So much, we can't restrict what people can do with their land. They have to follow our procedures, which luckily you are in one of 12 places in Texas that there are rules. If they were 1,000 feet to the north, they could build 1 acre lots with no oversight from us. So you're luckily they are in place. And 2 years ago, it was 1 acre right there. Now we have upped it to 2.5 acres, which is some of the most stringent zoning regulations in Texas. I understand the concerns, but we have to follow the letter of the law too. We can't just say, well, this person can do what they want to do with their land, but you can't do with what you want to do with your land. So it's, our governing body only has so much power if they are following. We'll make sure that they have followed all of our guidelines and our rules. And I will, to address the cut-through road 2132, I always forget the road number, but that is on our plan in this budget year to redo that one completely, and I'll make sure I can do with what the roads are. I have reached out to Mr. Whipple to maybe make a contribution as he sells a lot to help me fix the damage that the construction on those houses will cause right there. He doesn't have to by law, but I asked him if he would. We'll see how that goes. And then I know that everybody putting in these high dollar lots is doing deed restrictions and limiting, trailer houses and junky cars and all that. But then on the flip side of that, the land is drawing so much money down there. These 2.5 acre lots will probably bring $200,000. People buying $200,000 land are going to build nice places and have nice neighbors. So it kind of, the prices are driving what kind of quality neighbors you're going to get down there. So, but I understand your concerns. Law is what I'm saying.
No, and I appreciate your comment. I guess I was hoping to interject a little bit higher degree of common sense into the process and not just.
And I understand. Rural feel, and I get it. I deal with this all the time down there.
I'm sure you do, sir. Well, let me close by saying this. If I'm going to be forced to live with a bunch of immigrants from California, I'd rather live with fewer of them than more of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And the P&Z does play a role in this also. I mean,
Yeah, the P&Z looking at everything before it comes up to us, and we have, 7 people collectively down there helping us, or helping me to spread it out to y'all. I wrote your number down, sir. I'll call you and we can talk.
Yes, sir.
Much and little as you want. I'm always around, so.
All right, sir.
Thank you. Any other comments? Anyone? Anyone on the court? Okay, it is 10:22. We'll close that hearing. Item 13, deliberate and consider possible approval of rezoning of 20 acres at 200 block of Blackjack Road and Bloomfield Road in Valley View from agricultural to residential as requested by Clint Whipple.
And P&Z already sent out the recommendation to change it.
Yeah.
Was it unanimous?
Who? Okay.
Say
What
again.
was the vote?
It was not.
Okay. No, that's okay.
It's been 2 months ago.
that's in here, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yep.
I don't have the packet, so.
No,
Don't see it.
I think it was
just the survey.
just one representative that wasn't even the resident down there that was against it. I don't know how much of that I'm allowed to say. I mean, it was the Valley View representative that,
She was against it. Yes,
Yeah.
she voted against it.
and that was the only one.
It was either 1 or 2. I can't remember.
And there is already a series of lots across the road, correct?
Yeah, like that gentleman stated, these are 5 acres. Those on the right-hand side.
Gotcha.
And I want to say that subdivision is 25 years old, probably. Does that sound about right, sir? Your subdivision's probably 20 years old?
I'm certainly not familiar with the 5-acre lots.
Okay, you're not in one of those 5-acre lots.
Right, I'm a little bit south of that.
Okay.
But my understanding from talking to the couple of homeowners is that subdivision has been there for quite some time. In fact, I think that's the Wolf Creek Estates. I believe there was a late 90s, early 2000s date on the covenants and restrictions that I pulled out of the records.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know, this plot's one, but they're like 4 houses right here, and a bunch of houses here, you know, it's,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could go either way on that, however you look at it.
Yeah, I don't see any way legally we could.
I don't either, that's the problem,
Reject it.
legally we can't.
You'd have to go back, I would think, and rewrite
Yeah.
P and Z guidelines if you chose to deny it based on acreage.
Yeah.
Well, I make a motion, we approve the zoning change.
I have a motion to approve the zoning change of the 20 acres at 200 block of Blackjack Road.
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Hollowell. Any further discussion from anyone? All in favor of approving the rezoning of the 20 acres at 200 block of Blackjack Road, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0.
And then,
Item number 14, deliberate and consider possible approval of preliminary plat applicant by Clint Whipple for 8 lots on Blackjack Road in Precinct 2. So this is the preliminary plat.
and so this is where, with the preliminary, they don't have to have the drainage completed, because we can still reject the final plat if there's a drainage issue, correct? It's talking about in that area running to the north. I would have never thought it would run north right there, but I would think everything's gonna run south.
My thought is, when he does these acres, these lots, if he tries to develop all this, I feel like there'll be drainage issues on these lots. I think these lots, because
Yeah.
this is all downhill to a valley. Moving forward, I think that these hurt this, which is what that gentleman was saying, is if he develops these, he's worried about these being developed eventually too.
But at some point, he's gonna start doing interior roads, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, all that,
yeah.
that definitely
And
have
that's
to
a whole different beast.
Yeah, that would lose that would be about the remainder that he could do is have a road frontage without losing access to that property.
You know, is this the end of it right here, as it go on to the,
Yeah, it goes on down, probably here, there's a big horse arena right there. And, like, you know, even if he added 1 or 2 more here, he wouldn't be able to access
at
that.
some point in time, he's gonna have to go.
It'd be locked.
Kathy, you deal with them more, do they have everything they need for the preliminary plat? Okay. I mean, I feel like legally we're gonna, you know,
I agree.
have to approve the preliminary plat first, and then just make sure, I mean, he understands what's gonna have to be done to move forward, so. I'm not talking to you like you're not standing there, I'm just.
Oh, I understand. I'm standing here to
I have 12
address the issues, ask a couple of,
I have
answer a
12
couple of questions.
subdivisions in the hopper, so it's have them in different stages of engineering and everything, so sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. Thank you,
I understand.
Kathy, for everything it does publicly.
And yes, we did go ahead, once it was recommended by Ms. Lloyd, we did go ahead and start with the drainage study.
Right.
Now, one of the things that we found out when I was out there doing the surveying for the drainage study was the way the lot layout is a little bit, and Mr. Whipple wanted to adjust it somewhat. One is the preliminary plat was prepared according to county specs and minimum standards, all right, which is 250-foot minimum width on the lots. Originally, it was supposed to be 8 lots on Blackjack, but we couldn't put 8 lots in there because of the minimum width. We had to make them wider and not quite as deep. Same thing with Bloomfield. We originally set it up as a 250-foot minimum. Once we were out there on the field looking at the topography and how the lot layout actually happened, one of the things that was recommended is that we change the frontage on those 2 lots, 7 and 8 on Bloomfield, to 300 feet rather than 250. Okay? That was to move the lot corners up the hill a little bit and a little bit further away. It also comes to addressing some of the drainage, on-site drainage that's going to have to be dealt with between now and the final plat. So the preliminary plat is just a layout, 6 along Blackjack, 2 on Bloomfield. The dimensions will change a little bit during the final plat if we have to move lot lines around to deal with drainage or driveway or any other kind of issues as that. Another point with moving the frontage up Bloomfield Road, it puts it on top of the hill, and there is no plan to develop the remainder of the ranch. It is going to be maintained as a horse.
And just to add to that, for Mr. Howe, I've had a bunch of your neighbors call me. I mean, it's been a hot topic, obviously. And when I reached out to Mr. Whipple to talk to him about deed restrictions and stuff, he even told me, just like you said earlier, it wasn't going to be a fast development. He might not sell, but at this time, he talked about, I might sell 1 lot this year, and then when I need some more cash for improvements on my horse ranch, I might sell another lot. So he said he's not even going to list them all immediately, is what he said right now. And that's what you had said, it's going to be a slow.
And that's my understanding also, is this is just potential for in the future.
Yeah.
They're making other improvements to the ranch, adding on to the arena and several other things to make it a very viable.
He said one of the fence he wants to build around the place, he probably had to sell 2 of those lots just to fund
build
the
the
fence
fence.
he wants to build. So it seems like it's not going to turn into development on the whole ranch, which I don't want to see that either. So, that's what it seems like right now.
And that's what we're saying to everybody, so that's the way it's going to be. If it comes down, nobody knows where we're going to be in the future, but this is only 20 acres to be able to plat up 8 residential lots for use in the future, but it is not a development. It's not the beginning of developing the entire ranch. And by moving the frontage up Bloomfield Road, it kind of restricts any access to the back part if you wanted to do further development, because there's arenas and other obstacles in the way of development.
I think right now, by the letter of law, we're going to have to accept the preliminary plat.
I agree.
And then, all that drainage and everything comes along with the final plat, so I'll make a motion that we approve the preliminary plat for this Bison Run.
I have a motion from Commissioner Snuggs to approve the preliminary plat by Clint Whipple for 8 lots at Blackjack Road. A second by Commissioner Hollowell. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 15, open public hearing, reduction of speed limit to 35 miles per hour on the entire length of County Road 314 and County Road 323. Have anyone here to speak to this, please?
Ms. Brewer, sign up sheet one more time.
It's already down there. Yeah, we get it. Yes, sir.
House phone number.
And
I live on County Road 323.
please state
and,
your name if you would, sir.
Pardon me?
Your name, sir?
David Brewer.
Okay, David, thank you.
I've lived on County Road 323 for probably the last 17 years. And as with a lot of things, as progress comes on, we are observing more and more traffic up and down. It's a gravel road, and I believe right now the speed limit on those gravel roads are 65 miles an hour. And with the progress of time, we're experiencing more and more traffic up and down that road. And we have a lot more, what I'll call cut-through traffic from FM 1630 over to Highway 51. It saves several miles by coming down 323, then cutting up 314, people that don't live out there. And with that regard, I don't think they really care much about the people that do live up there. I've got several little items that I've written down, for reasons to reduce it. Not that we probably need to go through them, but safety, one thing. Safety by lowering speed limits of, if anybody's lived out in a country road and come home at night or something, we do have cows on both sides of the road. Every once in a while, those cows do get out. There are some rises and falls. If you come over top of that hill, you really don't want to see a cow in the middle of the road at any time. We have dogs out there that get out every once in a while. I try to keep mine, but they do get out sometimes. Speed, you have a loss of control if you're not paying attention. And as we all know, when I lived out there, we didn't have quite the amount of cell phone usage that we do now. And we all know how we lose our attention span when the phone rings or somebody texts us and we think we have to answer it right then, or we might even spill a cup of coffee and all that. Whatever it takes to get our attention off of what we're supposed to be doing, which is driving. Wear and tear on your vehicles. I know for one thing, from being out there for 17 years, that those gravel roads are not real kind on tires. But I do know that if you reduce your speed a little bit, you can make those tires last a little bit longer. We have more trucks going through there. If you happen to meet a vehicle coming down the road, you have the possibility of having to rock through the windshield. Or if they happen to swerve and you have to take a different route, you may end up in a bar ditch. And maintenance, if we lower the speed, I think the maintenance would be a little bit less on there. As you guys well know, if you have a pothole or a hole by a bridge and it gets some water in it, those holes don't get smaller, they only get bigger. And I've seen too many times, and as Commissioner Art will come out there and run a motor grader down the road and fix the potholes, and if we're lucky enough to get rain, they appear again if we're not careful, and the speed, it just keeps on going. I think that the time period for 60 or 65 miles an hour on those gravel roads is past, and I think 35 miles an hour is not out of the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. Anyone else to speak on County Road 314 and 323 reduction of speed limit? Anyone?
He's the one that ties into Spring Creek.
In a roundabout way, yeah. It comes out there by Stan Enderby's. 314 does.
Okay.
Right there on that hill.
Any further discussion from the court? Concerns?
Just for the record, it's a state law that the speed limit on a gravel road is 65 miles an hour. That's not county rules. That's state.
If it's not posted.
If it's not posted. You have to post them all if you want to lower them. So it's automatically, if a road isn't posted, it's automatically 65. Well, this gentleman was a little bit surprised. I knew you understood. This gentleman was surprised, and I didn't want him going out there thinking we set the speed limit at 65 on all these roads.
I was surprised the first time I heard it too, and it's,
Yeah.
they probably said that when wagons were going up and down the road. I don't know.
I don't know if Model Ts ever went 65 miles an hour.
Is that when they set them? Do you remember that, when they set it when the wagons were?
No, I think that was your grandfather.
Oh.
Yeah, and he told me about it.
Oh, he did, yeah, exactly.
Just, shortly before. He said he tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
All right, if there's no further discussion, I'll make the motion to reduce the speed limit to 35.
We got to close it. Public.
Oh, I got to close public hearing. It is 10:35. Close public hearing. Item 17, deliberate and consider possible approval of reduction of speed limit to 35 miles per hour on the entire length of County Road 314 and 323.
What do you want, Adam?
Yes.
I'm with you.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Adams to reduce the speed limit to 35 miles an hour on County Road 314 and
And
323.
you can have the second since you were going to.
And Judge Starnes will second it. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 18, deliberate and consider possible acceptance of monetary donation in the amount of $20,000 from Jeff Isabel to Chip and Seal Morrow Road from Farm to Market 922 to his driveway in Precinct 2.
Just like it says, he's going to donate to, he's going to do almost half of Morrow Road. I'm going to make a motion, I accept that donation.
Have a motion to accept the donation of $20,000 from Jeff Isabel to Chip and Seal Morrow Road from Commissioner Snuggs.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Arndt. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 19, deliberate and consider possible action regarding addition of fiber optics for adult and juvenile probation offices. Rick, you want to talk to that, or you want me to? Or Daryl, I'm sorry, I guess this is yours. As I understand it, this is a request from Nortex, and it's simply an upgrade at no charge to us, and there will be no interruption in service during the upgrade process.
That's correct.
Do you see any complications with having this done?
No, sir, and I recommend that we do it.
Okay?
I'll make a motion, we approve the fiber optics for adult and juvenile probation officers.
I have a motion to approve the change to fiber optics for adult and juvenile
Second.
probation from Commissioner Clement, and a second from Commissioner Arndt. Any further discussion? All in favor, please
Hang on,
signify.
hang on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep.
Is this just on a service or on a bill or what?
It's replacing the current hardware that we have at no difference in a month.
The hardware?
Yeah. So we get that hardware from them through our monthly fee, and they want to retire the hardware and switch us to their newer service. So, same cost.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Sorry, anyone else? Any other discussion? Okay, I have a motion to change to fiber optic for the adult and juvenile probation offices by Commissioner Clement, a second by Commissioner Arndt. And please note in the record that this is at no cost to the county. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 20, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding addition of LED lights to the courthouse clocks. Rick, you want to speak to this? As I understand it, I saw an approval from the Texas Historical Commission to do so.
Yes.
Do we have money budgeted to do it?
I haven't been consulted too much, and I just took them up there to show them.
Okay.
I did send the information off to the THC, and they did say no problem at all, that they approved it. So
Okay.
other than that, I don't know too much about it.
Is there I don't know anything about your budget, would there be any room in your budget to pay for this?
Well, I didn't.
Or would it?
How much is it?
It was like
2,900.
yeah, 20.
Or something,
It was just below 3,000.
last week's, or last quarter.
I like the thought of being able to have different colored lights for different holidays and whatnot. It seems-
And I wouldn't, and I meant to take a picture of doing that, but I wouldn't pay attention. You can't see the clock from two sides. You can only see it. You can't see it from all four sides. You can only see it from two.
So,
I mean, I wouldn't even mind chipping in for my budget, but I don't know. That's all that's
Madam Auditor,
auditor.
what do you recommend here? That we table this and come back with a budget amendment to address it in the next court?
Well, if Rick has the money, he can go ahead and do it, and then do a budget amendment at a later date, but.
What would you take it out of? I thought, well, there wasn't any more information here. I thought we had determined that last time, that we didn't have a place to get it from, that we needed a.
Yeah, well, obviously I didn't budget for it because it just now came up,
Could
but
we do like come out like permanent improvements or something?
No.
mean, it can come out of my budget. I've got the money now to do it, and then if we start running short, like Shelley said, have a problem at the end of the year, we can address it at that time.
We'll have to do a budget amendment for you.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do a budget amendment for the next court to get your money back.
Okay.
Does that seem reasonable?
I wouldn't, Judge, I'd just wait, if they do it just like he's doing a maintenance item. I mean, the bottom line is, because it's not a budgeted item, and we're going to continue to reduce our fund balances if we continue to do things that are unfunded. This is a terribly expensive item, but
Well, I can take it out of my line item 350, which is
If that puts you in a bind later in the year, we'll just cross that bridge when we come to it.
right.
Yeah.
because there are going to be other items between now and the end of the year.
And
Make them all up at once.
unfortunately, road and bridge, because it's a separate tax, cannot pay for general fund.
I figured that.
General fund can pay for road and bridge, but
The danger we have, and this is a small item, the danger we have is the protocols. I hate to use a big word like protocols, the rules of engagement. We're supposed to kind of figure this all out before we decide to spend the money. I know Shelley always makes me.
No, I agree 100%.
Don't you, Shelley?
I think,
And there's nothing wrong with that, I'm not complaining.
no, it's.
well, that's my big question is, where are you going to pay for
I
it
know,
from?
I know. I've heard it for a while. And I
A
understand.
few
I
times,
understand it.
yeah. That's why I always raise my hand.
Well, I make a motion that we do it and pay for it out of Rick's budget, and then if there's any issues in the future, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
I have a motion to purchase the LED lights for the courthouse dome clock by Commissioner Snuggs, taking it out of maintenance budget, slightly under $3,000.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Hollowell.
We should also see some reduction in cost running the LEDs versus the current fluorescent, so we should see some payback there.
No, that's true, because those are,
It's not just a cosmetic issue.
those are big incandescent lights that are up there now.
Those lights need to be addressed anyway. They're old and outdated and problematic, so.
For sure.
So this is, like I said, not simply cosmetic. We should get some return on our investment.
It's a win-win.
So you mean you're going to keep track of that? We did this out at the jail. We were promised all these electrical savings, and I bugged you for 6 months as the electrical use gone down, and you told me you couldn't tell me.
That didn't mean it didn't happen. You just
I know.
you got better things to do to track all those.
I think it'll take us a while to get to 20.
Well, for sure. Yeah, 'cause it's
The
only
lights are
July.
wore out. They've only been in there for.
This building's kind of a center of pride for me, and I think it is for a lot of people in the county, and I'd like for it to be as pristine as we can keep it, for sure.
Well, there's no way to tell because the whole building, and, you know.
I understand.
But it's a good question. Okay, I have a motion to purchase the LED lights for the dome clock by Commissioner Snuggs. And I have a second by Commissioner Hollowell. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 21, deliberate and consider possible use of EMS grant of HRSA, Health Resource and Service Administration, a grant of $77,360.
Okay, first, for the record, I want to correct the amount. It was $77,350.10. That's $77,350.10. So I was discussing this with the judge. I haven't, let's see here. This is out of the webpage of the document. And I highlighted the fact of salaries retention. And when we received this, first of all, I want to thank Shelley. She did all the heavy lifting on this. This is a rural grant for rural EMS. and rural healthcare. So again, she did the heavy lifting. We were given through our Medicare, Medicaid payments the amount of $77,350.10. So when we received this, I didn't have plans for it to start with, and then I started reading the documents and thinking about this, and we never did any type of hazardous pay for our EMS crews through the main COVID experience, and it continues, and we're into an uptick again. What they had to go through is really tremendous, wearing respirators on every call, the detailing and disinfecting of the ambulances, just living with it. And if you aren't up on the news, EMS and healthcare workers are leaving in droves because of the pandemic. They're burnt out, they're tired, and it continues. So I thought, well, on retention, how could we do something for the EMS crews? And I know everybody has dealt with this, but not in an 8x12 box, in families' homes, not knowing, obviously we've had multiple crew members receive it, they've given it to their families. And so what I would like to do with this money is do a hazardous pay, you can't call it a bonus, but hazardous pay, I'm not sure even the right word would be, stipend for them for what they've gone through. And I kind of estimated, you take retirement, taxes, all that out of it, probably somewhere between $1,500 and $1,700 for them. But I did put out there and try to find out who else was doing stipends, and just a couple that I wrote down. Fairfield EMS, they're doing $2 an hour more as a hazardous pay stipend. North Channel EMS are doing $1,500 hazardous pay stipends. City Deer Park EMS, they're doing time and a half. So there are agencies out there that are doing hazardous pay. And, recently we've lost 2 individuals to fire departments in the last month and a half. We have a good team, but I want to make sure that we can keep that team. And I think this would go a long way to say thank you for what you've done. And that's my viewpoint on it. So,
Before you
Yes, sir.
leave, so if the court decided not to do that, what would be the other alternatives for this money that you see?
I don't know at this point. I really focused on this because I think we need to give back to the team. But, we can do training equipment, there's supplies we can buy within. If you look at the paragraph that I printed off, there's other things that we can't put towards the dollars. Right now, as far as PPE, we're doing well. We received that other grant, and we were able to bring PPE and personal protective equipment. So I would have to put thought into it. I don't have that answer for you right now, Judge.
Okay, for clarification purpose, the handout that Kevin gave us is actually the rules of engagement for the Health Resource and Service Administration's use of that fund. And one of the things that is acceptable for that use is salaries, recruitment, and retention. There are a number of other things also. I'll just read the whole paragraph. This fund will help healthcare providers keep their doors open, address workforce challenges, and make up for the lost revenue and increased expenses caused by the pandemic. Specifically, providers can use these funds for salaries, recruitment, and retention, supplies such as N95 or surgical masks, equipment like ventilators or improved filtration system, capital investment, information technologies, and other expenses related to prevent, prepare for, or respond to COVID-19 in the coming weeks. HHS plans to announce the first wave of PRF Phase 4 payment and will continue processing the remaining ARP rural applications, some of which will be more extensive review to ensure program integrity. So there could be more ARP money coming? Do we have
We
all the
did,
grants?
yes, we did apply for Phase 4.
Okay.
And so it's just time whether we do get it or not. But this one was specifically for rural healthcare providers.
Shelley, is there a legitimate way to make it a one-time payment or stipend and not turn it into a perpetual number and a salary increase that we would have to fund in the future?
You can give them the stipend of,
X.
Yeah, whatever it works, and I don't know, I didn't have the retirement and taxes and so forth. I'd have to
I don't think
figure
that
it
factors in,
That
does it,
wouldn't
Shelley?
factor into it, would it?
out. I would think it would. I would think you'd,
anytime you give any kind of salary, money, you have to tax retirement.
Okay.
So we would calculate that in such a way that if we gave them 1,500 and it took 200 to cover retirement, all that, it'd be either 17 or it'd be 13, 15 total or something like that.
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, my estimate, 26% is normally a pretty good number when it comes to taxes and stuff, and I kind of figured somewhere between $1,500 and $1,700.
But that's still,
This is the FAQ on this money.
Like I said, she did the heavy
And
lifting.
you were able to condense that down to one paragraph?
I did.
I didn't do that.
I did.
You found that paragraph.
I did find that paragraph. I didn't think you want to read the whole
You
thing.
didn't condense it. That's pretty good.
Thank you, we appreciate your consideration of our time.
The last time they were updated was on 12/9.
so retirement and everything could be a one-shot. Hey, it's done.
How many, okay, so how many employees are we talking about? Well, if it's 15.
There's 33 full-time field employees.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the court would feel about the office manager, training captain. I don't care about myself, but they deal with a lot too.
I just have a concern about if you gave them $2 an hour, then they become used to it.
No, I don't want that. I want a one-time
Yeah,
check.
because then you,
Right.
then this money runs out and then you gotta take it
Exactly.
out.
So I want like a one-time check, whatever it is, 1,500, 1,400, 1,700, whatever that number turns out to be.
Yeah.
For me, I would like a one-time hazardous pay stipend, to use these funds for a one-time hazardous pay stipend for the team.
Yeah, because it can't become a perpetual number because we just financed a raise out of,
Correct. And I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for that.
I wouldn't, one, it needs to be one shot, be done, and not let it turn into a perpetual number.
Yeah, correct. I agree with you.
And I believe that's what you're asking for, correct?
That is what I'm asking for, correct?
Somebody needs to do, Shelley, or somebody that
And we don't have the money yet.
Okay.
have to do, we need to know what the specific number per employee is, and you'll take care of that.
You don't want us doing a motion for this until you actually have the numbers, right? So there's no,
Well, I mean, we have,
The money first.
we know the number, we just physically don't have the money.
you don't have the money.
But,
Okay.
but you don't know the number per employee with benefits yet, right?
You haven't figured that, that's what I'm saying. You haven't figured the,
No, and again, I was approaching this of saying, is this something that's feasible? Because if it's not feasible to the court, then why do all the work?
That would be HR's.
Right, and so if it's feasible, then we can work with Elizabeth to come up with the numbers of what it would be. Because I can't remember, I think I just did 35 employees, and it was like 1,900 and something, and so I took a couple $100 off for taxes and retirement. I mean, that's just real rough.
But the bottom line is we're taking 33 employees and dividing $77,350.10.
Yeah, I would ask for 35. Again, I don't care about myself, but I would ask for 35 employees.
Well, then you get everybody in this courthouse is admin and has had some exposure.
Not the way we do, but
I realize your folks go out on the street and bring it back to your admin,
but that'd beat up the court. If we did 33, we did 33. But I still think we, as leaders, need to take care of our people, and I think this is a good way to be able to take care of our EMS team.
I think we're all in agreement to do it this way. It's just, I guess we'll wait until you bring everything back.
get the money and have the number.
Yeah, get the money and have the number.
Yeah, the money's sitting at our billing department. It's getting out of their account into our account. There's some things going on there, so. And we still can't figure out why it went to the billing department.
What?
Yeah. That's why we don't have the funds in our account at this moment. So the funds have
Funds have
been,
been issued, you just don't have it here.
so.
Need to work through that wrinkle.
I make the recommendation that you get with Elizabeth and Shelley and work out the specifics, and we'll readdress this at the next court.
For 33 or 35 employees?
The 35 include, do the other two individuals, they also make calls if needed?
Yes. I mean, not that often, but they are backup. So the training captain for sure goes out.
I would do it for everybody.
Thank you.
You included. Since it's
Okay, fine.
Since it's a stunt.
No, I don't worry about me. I worry about my team.
They're on the front line with it.
Thank you.
I don't object to the job. I mean, the more you divide it by, the less they're going to get, but,
Okay.
you know.
So 36, if you including me, it's 36. That's up to you guys, though. Again, I wasn't worried about myself. That's a horrible noise.
Somebody's had a lot of
Progress.
homework done.
That's the sound of progress.
Okay, I make a motion that we take no action on this one.
And the directions get with Elizabeth.
Yep.
Get
You'll get
accurate
some more
numbers and put it on next
detailed
court.
information for our next court, and bring Ms. Hookton with you, so we'll make sure that there's nothing that we're overlooking from a HR standpoint, please.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 22. There you go. There you go. Okay. Deliberate and consider possible actions regarding soundproofing of district courtroom. Rick?
Well, as you all know, even from being in here, the sound from the road noise and all of that's very distracting. And that guy, I have a locksmith working on a door, that's what the drilling is, probably. In the district courtroom, we've been trying to figure out the right way to address the sound issues in it. The Texas Historical Commission has recommended this company, and what they're proposing to do is put, it's not plexiglass, but it's a poly something material that looks like plexiglass in the windows, and they put a track on the inside of the inner part of the trim, on the inside of it. The plexiglass then has a trim that goes on it that has a magnet on it, like a refrigerator magnet, and it just sticks on there. It has a handle on it so that if you need to pull it off to get out the window or whatever, you can just pull it off. He tells me that it will produce a 70% reduction in the sound that comes through that window by doing that application. And that's about all I know about it.
Okay, so we don't have a rough quote or anything at this point?
It's $12,000. I sent the quote.
I thought it was 19.
Okay, I'll have to look again. I thought it was 12.
You sent it on a separate email to us.
Yes. I figured it was in your packet. I don't ever see the packets.
And is Judge Haverkamp good with this?
Yes, yes.
How many windows we doing?
There are
How many are in there?
22 windows in there.
22.
That's 12. I thought it was 19 originally.
We're still going to get some noise from inside, right? We're not going to do anything to the exterior, the doors out into the foyer.
Correct, yeah. This is just addressing the noise coming through the windows, which is their main problem in there. If we could get that resolved, I think the other things would be easier to deal with. The problem with dealing with echo noise and that type thing inside the courtroom, the things that they're proposing to do, the THC doesn't approve. And so we have that rub back and forth.
I think we need to take one step at a time, see how well this works, if in fact we can come up with the money to do it. And then if it's not adequate, then we can take another look at it.
Right.
But I have been up there before when ambulances came by, and
Sure.
it's very disturbing.
Yeah, it's distracting, there's no doubt about it. And as I talk to different ones, there's issues in almost every historical courtroom. Because the way they built them 100 years ago, all they had to worry about was a Clydesdale going down the street or something. You know, they they didn't have the issues we have today. And
they were wearing rubber shoes.
I don't know.
Sorry.
It's okay, it's okay.
So you think it's 12?
It's not like you don't see a bunch of numbers in a day, it's time.
So,
So my question is, where would the money come from to do that?
I think that we need to do it, but I think that you need to coordinate with Shelley and see what we need to do as far as a budget amendment or where it would come from and have that prepared for the next court.
Are they gonna come out and measure for real?
Yes, they will have to. I sent them pictures of the windows and just measured them to get them to close size, and then they quoted it from that.
Any courthouses around have done that?
Yes, but I don't know where for sure.
That's
James
good.
Malanaphy says that that's been applied to several courthouses, and they like that application. You can't even see it. It's behind the blinds. You don't even know it's
You
there.
don't even know it's there.
That's a good question from Commissioner Clement. Can you get a name of the courthouses that have done this?
Something that's within
Yeah.
reasonable distance.
Driving distance, okay.
Call.
Yeah, just call and ask them if they're
Call and
satisfied.
ask how much.
Just call them and see if they're satisfied.
Yeah,
If it's-
see if they're satisfied.
Okay,
That's a good
I'll do
idea.
that. I will do that. And at the same time, find out if they did anything else on the inside that would help with that. There are things that can be done, obviously, that can make
Yeah.
the sound a whole lot better, but the THC balks at most of it, because you have to attach things to the walls, and you change the look of the inside of the courthouse.
Carpet would help.
Yes, a lot.
Yeah, we talked about that in here, and that was a no-no.
Well, we put carpet.
I know, but I'm talking about putting things on the walls.
Yeah.
Things like it's foam and cloth back decorative things, that panels that go on the
Yeah.
wall that absorb the sound to keep it from bouncing around something.
Hanging from the roof.
We found some things, we found some curtain-looking things that you could hang on the walls
Yeah.
that will, anything, any hard surface, it echoes all.
Kind of like movie theaters, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Carpet on the walls.
On the wall.
Yeah.
But it's not glued to the wall, it's ripple like curtains.
Yeah.
Right.
Any further discussion? Thank you, Rick. Then we'll take no action, and you'll coordinate with Shelley and the contractor to see what we need to do in order to move forward.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, no action on 22. Item number 23, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding Main Street parking lot. I'm waiting for a contract. I should get it today. I spoke with him over the holiday. It's coming from TNP, Chris Schmidt. It should be in your packet. There's a couple of different layouts to consider once we do get a contract and get them started.
I don't think it's a huge deal, but looking at the layout,
Yep.
like the parking spots where we park over behind the pub and all that, it's a one-way deal, so you have angled parking lot. I think that's easier, but
I personally like the angled parking spaces on the front of Main Street. It's one of the proposals they made. It gives us a few more parking places, and it's a little bit more convenient.
could they have a draw out of angled ones?
Say again?
Was one of these drawings?
No,
Okay.
no.
I just
But-
think the angled one where
No.
you,
Even inside the interior of the parking lot.
But on the outside, they've got, like I said, on Main Street, they've got that
Angled.
angle.
But yeah, you very
oh, I see that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that very well may be true. We may be able to be easier access. I think it would be if those were angled on the interior as well. But that's something we can
Yeah, we'll talk
work
about
with.
that later.
Yeah, once we get a contract. But I just want to keep you guys up to speed where we're at on that. And if I understand it correctly, once we get the contract, then they will write the specs, and then we'll put it out for bid. So if everything went right, it's feasible that in 30 days, we could be in position to put out bids to move forward with that parking lot.
Sounds good to me.
Any questions?
So So that's 2244 and 14 would be 58 perspective.
Yep.
The way that's laid out.
Yep. And then the other one was a few less. I think it was just the 44.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would be a good deal for downtown. All right, any further discussion? And we will take no action on item 23. Item 24, deliberate, consider possible actions regarding the Crest building. We have the new agreement from the consulting service. It's in your packet.
Jason, what was the first, was it 14 or 13 proposal from them?
11.8 or something, wasn't it?
Was it
I was thinking it was 12 something.
Yeah, 11.8 or something.
I didn't look it up. I thought it was
Looks like they added
12 or 13. I may be wrong.
Yeah, I think we would have expected it to go up now that they're dealing with the other two, the basement.
Well, I knew it was going to go up, but just trying to.
I was trying to think, it looked like it went up about 40% or something.
We're at 17.5.
Yeah.
It's probably money well spent.
I think so too.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
I have a motion to approve the new agreement for consulting services at $17,500 from Commissioner Clement.
Second.
Have a second from Commissioner Snuggs. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 25, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding county radio communication system.
My computer decided to go dead at a great time.
What's the matter?
All your lights finishing up, isn't it?
My computer decided to go.
It tanked on you?
It tanked on me. A couple things we're working on as of the 2 p.m. meeting last week. Working on the slab for the LP tank out at Rice Avenue.
The what?
The slab, concrete slab.
I thought you said lab.
The plan's to put a 500-gallon propane tank out there and have it monitored electronically, and ultimately, Sheriff's Office get notified. Talking to Pentex about getting service at Civil Bend and Walnut Bend. Meeting with them on January the 10th. TNT will ultimately be the ones that, with automatic transfer switches and the surge protectors, once the generators get here, but can't do anything until the generators themselves are in place. The tire remediation at Pentex is complete. Pyramid started the electrical work at Rice on 12/20. Probably start doing installs of radios in March and user training. Still working on, we're out there checking today. We had some interference from NOAA Weather Channel at the Pentex Tower, so they're working on that. We've gotten our keys from Denton so that now we can program our radios to network with Denton. Still waiting on interlocal. Obviously, somebody thinks it's going to go forward. They never would have given us the keys. Majority of the consent letters are back. The consent letters are needed because we share airspace and we don't want interference. Part of our contract is what they call Unified Equipment Management. And what that program does is it's going to monitor our propanes, any loss of power, stuff of that nature. Should we have issues off at a site, they'll notify the Sheriff's Office. We have a change order in the packet. All that change order is to show that the program end date is, I don't have that in front of me.
July 29th.
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't mean the project won't end until July the 29th. That's when they anticipate them paperwork being done and project being completed. That's sent to us simply for for their metrics. Motorola had set a date, and they've moved it out, and so that's their paper trail. So there's no money tied to this change order, but I guess I do need to make a motion that we approve that change order.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Got to have a second?
We will. I just want to make sure that anybody want to discuss it before we went into motion.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Hollowell to accept the change order, moving the project end date to July the 29th of 2022. I'll second it.
Have we given, how much money have we given? Have we given them anything?
Yeah.
How much have we given them so far?
Shelley, do you know how much of the 4.4 we've given?
Motorola, we paid about half, about two,
We paid two already. That come out of last year's budget or this year's budget?
last year.
Last year's budget. So what's in this year's budget for?
The rest of it.
The rest of it.
Okay,
We just wrote the PO.
okay, all right.
And along the same lines, we are about to see, our next change order should be for a $244,000 credit. That's money that we anticipated from TCOG. And the way the system works, Motorola will bill TCOG directly, and TCOG will write them a check, so we'll see a change order and a reduction of $244,000.
And what does TCOG pay that under?
Because it's coming out of a grant.
It's a grant that they got for it?
And so, to do it correctly, they have to get a bill from the vendor directly and not to us. So Motorola will subtract $244,000 off of our bill, take some portion of this project that's worth $244,000 and send it straight to TCOG.
I get it. I forgot that there was a grant associated with it.
Yeah, they can't give it to us and us give it to them. They got to give it directly to them.
So that will be, that should be our next change order.
Okay. All right, back to item 25. I have a motion from Commissioner Hollowell to accept Motorola's change order number 2, extending the project end date to July the 29th of 2022, and a second from Judge Starnes. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it, 5-0.
And to add to it, the 200-foot tower, which will be the one that's going to Sybil's Bend, plans to ship 131, usually 3 to 4 days delivery, 4 to 5 days to erect. So
when are they going to want their gravel work done?
we don't have to, I think after the tower's actually erected, before you and I get to do that. The 300-foot tower, which is going to Walnut Bend, should ship 211. Again, 3 to 4 days delivery, 4 to 5 days erect. So again, we should start looking at installations into vehicles and user training in March. The microwaves, that's toward the end of near the end of the installation.
So they put the tower up before they do the rock work?
Yeah, because they end up doing grounding and stuff around the base of it, and if we go rock it, then they'd have to sink grounding cable and stuff.
I still have to build an 80-foot road though, remember?
I don't think it's 80 foot now. I think it's about 35 or 40.
Are we down to 35 or 40?
It's shorter than it was, trust me. Anyway, till they get the towers and because there's I guess a significant amount of grounding cable stuff underground.
Gotcha. They don't want the rock.
And from the cabinet that's housing the electronics to the tower, and of course, the tower's what's most apt to get struck by lightning, so they do some significant grounding, so that
they don't want the rock in the way.
things don't fry. I think that's it, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Item 26, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding various grant funds.
Precinct 4 received $19,400.15 today for PW 596 for County Roads 401, 444, and 451. Considerably more work was submitted, but that was all that was left in the PW to pay. So that one is closed. And no changes on the rest of the grants.
Okay, thank you, and we'll take no action on 26, number 27, executive session in compliance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Chapter 551, Government Code, Vernon, Texas Code, consultant, consultation with attorney, and real property.
We take five.
We can take 5, and it is currently 11:20. 36, we will resume regular session. Item number 28, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding annex. I make a motion that we accept the contract from J.R. Jones as it stands within our packet with the red lines. We will verify that the red lines are correct when we look at the finished product that we now have. But I'll make a motion that we accept it.
Second.
I have a second to accept the contract from J.R. Jones for the annex construction from Commissioner Snuggs. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 29, future agenda items. Anybody have anything that we need to add to next court? It'll be next year.
Next year, huh?
Next year's upon us pretty quick.
Okay, we'll take no action. And item 30, adjourn.
Make the motion.
Have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Arndt.
Second.
A second by Commissioner Snuggs. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned, 5-0. Thanks, guys.